All right, today we're going to start 2.1, multiplying integers. Here's what I want you to be careful. This is a totally different and new set of rules, okay? Instead of the last rules, what were the last rules that we had? Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract and take. Totally new set of rules. So I want you to pull out your red pen and fill in this section for me. All right, as you're filling this in, I want us to go ahead and just highlight a few key words. These are the rules that we're going to use for multiplying positive and negative integers. If you have an even amount of negative signs, your answer will always be positive. So I want you to take your red pen, draw a cloud around that word even, and then I want you to underline negative signs. Simply what this says is we're going to be counting the negative signs. If you count the negative signs, then it's going to help you to know whether your answer should be positive or negative. So looking at this example right here, it says -2 times -5. How many negative signs do you see there, class? Two. Do you know that the number 2 is an even number? What are some other even numbers? 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, okay? All of those. If you have that number, an even amount of negative signs, your answer is always going to be positive. So that's why the answer here is positive 10, because you had an even amount of negative signs. Let's look at the next one. Take your red pen once again. I want you to draw a cloud around. If you have an odd amount, and let's underline the words negative signs. If you have an odd amount of negative signs, your answer will always be negative. So let's focus on this right here. -2 times -3 times -5. Let's count the number of negative signs. How many negatives do you see? 3. Is the number 3 even or odd? Odd. It is odd. Because you have an odd amount of negative signs, you can see the answer has to be -30. Let's look at this one. Count the signs. -2 times +4. How many negative signs do you see? 1. Is the number 1 even or odd? Odd. It is odd. If you have an odd amount of negative signs, your answer will always be negative, and that's why our answer is -8. So this is called the even and odd rule, and we're going to use this every time we multiply integers together. All right, let's look at the first one. Luke, how many negative signs do you see on problem A? 2. Is the number 2 even or odd? It is even. If you have an even number of negative signs, your answer has to be positive. So I can put a positive right here if I want to help me know, oh, okay, 2 negatives makes a positive. And then just do, what's 5 times 6, Luke? 30. So the answer is positive 30. Let's go on to problem B. Jocelyn, how many negative signs do you see on 4 times -6? 1. Is the number 1 even or odd? Odd. If you have an odd amount of negative signs, your answer will always be? Negative. Jocelyn? Negative is correct. So I'm going to put my sign first, negative, and then what's 4 times 6? 24 is correct. So the correct answer is -24. Let's go on to the next one. Maddie, 3 times -4. How many negative signs do you see? There is 1. Is the number 1 even or odd? Odd, because there's an odd number of negative signs. The answer has to be what? Negative. Very good. And she told us 3 times 4 is 12. So the correct answer is -12. Let's go on to the next one. Ellie. 5 times 5. 25, okay? So this is a simple problem. There were no negatives, so we're going to do it just like a simple, normal problem. 5 times 5 is 25. Excellent job. MJ, let's go to the next one. -25 times 0. Anything times 0 always equals? 0. Guys, should I say that it's -0? No, why not? 0 can never be negative or positive. It's just plain old 0, okay? Let's go to the next one. Reagan, -1 times -9. How many negative signs do you see? 2. That's an even number, so your answer has to be? Negative. Positive. Has to be positive, so your answer is? Positive 9. Do I have to put the plus sign there, class? No, you do not have to put the plus sign there. You can just put it as a regular old plain 9, okay? Now, I want us to review over some ideas that we talked about yesterday in our intro lesson. So if you would, take your red pen out, and I want you to put a cloud around this word PEMDAS, and then go ahead and fill in the rest of the notes. So from yesterday we talked about please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, okay? So that little saying is supposed to help us to remember PEMDAS. P, parentheses are always first. E, exponents. Remind me again, guys, what does 3 squared mean? 3 times 3, okay? What does 5 squared mean?
5 times 5.
What does 10 squared mean?
10 times 10.
What do you think negative 3 squared means? Negative 3 times negative 3, you're right, because it would be multiplying by itself. Then multiplication and division, why are they on the same line right there instead of one on top of the other?
Because you can, multiplication is right after division.
Okay, here's the deal for this one. You're going from left to right, so whatever comes first. If multiplication comes first, you do that first. If division comes first, you do that first. Whatever comes first from left to right. And then the same idea there for the addition and subtraction. Whatever comes first from left to right is what you'll do first, okay? So we're going to use these rules and our other new rules to try to evaluate the expressions. Take that red pen out one more time, and I want you to fill in this blank. Find the sign first. I think this is a tip that's going to be helpful to you guys because if you find the sign before anything else, then you can just multiply it like a regular problem, okay? So let's look at this first one, negative 2 squared. Abigail, what does negative 2 squared mean? What number should I multiply by itself? Not 2. Negative 2, okay? Because you see the negative 2 there, you want to go ahead and multiply negative 2 times itself. Negative 2. Abigail, how many negative signs do you see?
2.
2. Is the number 2 even or odd?
Even.
Even. If you have an even number of negative signs, your answer will always be positive. So then we know it's going to be a positive. Abigail, what's 2 times 2?
4.
4. Very good. So our answer is going to be positive 4. The next problem. I want you to look at this one, problem A, and look at problem B. What is the only thing that's different about those original problems? Michaela? The parentheses. Watch how the parentheses will totally change your answer, okay? So in this case, when I have a negative sign, repeat after me. Drop it down. We are going to drop the negative sign down. Now I am going to square the 2. What does 2 squared mean?
2 times 2.
2 times 2. So I've got 2 times 2. Michaela, how many negative signs do you see now?
1.
There's only 1. If you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer will always be negative. So I'm going to bring down my negative. And now what's 2 times 2, class?
4.
4. Notice the answer. Did I get the same answer as I did on this problem?
Yeah.
No, one's positive 4 and one's negative 4. So the parentheses you see in the original problem make a huge difference about what your answer will end up being, okay? You're only going to square the negative if there's parentheses around that negative sign. Let's go on to the next one. Did any of you guys ever memorize the 17 times tables?
No.
No, you did not, okay? In elementary school, we go up to the 12 times tables. So multiplying times the 17 could be a tough thing. But do you guys think that you would know how to multiply those two together?
Yeah.
Yes, so I want you to take your pencil. Let's just put a little arrow. I'm going to do that step first because remember the commutative property told me I am allowed to multiply in any order that I want and it will not change the answer. So let's look at this, class. What is negative 2 times negative 5?
10. Negative 10.
Is it a negative or a positive?
Positive.
Why is it positive?
Because 2 negatives.
Because there's 2 negatives, and that's an even number of negatives. So negative 2 times negative 5 is going to be positive 10. Now, I still have to bring down that times 17. Just the girls, what is 10 times 17?
170.
170 is correct. Please box the answer in. So remember, when you're multiplying, you can switch the numbers around, and sometimes that will make your problem easier. All right, let's go on to the next one. To Kobe. According to PEMDAS, what should I do before I do anything else? Parentheses. Everybody underline the parentheses right here. Now within the parentheses, it's saying negative 3 plus 4. So that's going to be the old rules that we had before. Same sign, add and keep. different signs, subtract, and take. Jacoby, what is negative 3 plus 4? Same sign or different sign?
Different.
Same sign, add and keep, different sign.
Subtract.
Subtract it and take the sign of the larger number. What is negative 3 plus 4?
Negative 1.
Close. 4 minus 3 is 1. Take the sign of the larger number. The 4 was larger than the 3, so it's going to be a positive, okay? And then, class, what do you guys think I should do with that negative 6? Drop it down, okay? And then when we drop it down, we are going to multiply it together. Now, Jacoby, we're back to multiplying rules. This is our even and odd rule. So, Jacoby, how many negatives do you see there?
6.
Okay, there's one negative sign. All right, so is the number 1 even or odd? Odd. When you have an odd number of negative signs, is your answer going to be positive or negative?
Negative.
It will be negative. So what's the answer?
Negative 6.
Negative 6 is correct. Excellent work. All right, look at the next one. Autumn, negative 2 times negative 5.
We start with multiplying because it's a double negative.
Okay, it's actually not a double negative. Here's when it's a double negative, it would be 2 negatives side by side with no number between them. Okay, so this is my new rule where you have to count the signs. How many signs do you see that are negative? 2. Is the number 2 even or odd?
Even.
Even, because we have an even number of negative signs. My answer has to be positive. And then what's 2 times 5? 10. The answer is positive 10. Very good. Final one. What should I do to this negative sign right there? Jonathan? I should drop it down. Very good job. Okay, so I bring that down. And then, Jonathan, should I multiply first or should I do my exponents first? Exponents, very good. What is 4 squared? 16, because it means 4 times 4. Times 2. I just bring down that times 2. Now looking at this, Jonathan, how many negative signs do you see in the problem? There's 1 negative sign. Is the number 1 even or odd? Odd, because I have an odd number of negative signs. My answer has to be? Does it have to be positive or negative? Has to be negative. And what's 16 times 2? Close. Very good, 32. All right, so the answer is negative 32. All right, on the next page, we've got a modeling real life problem. And this is what it says. You solve a number puzzle on your phone. You start with 250 points. You finish the puzzle in 8 minutes and 45 seconds, and you make 3 mistakes. Each mistake is negative 50 points. And each second under 10 minutes gives you 1 point bonus. What is your final score? So when we have these big problems, we got to kind of break down and try to figure out what it is that it's asking us. If I'm looking at this problem, I can see there's a way to get positive points and there's a way to get negative points. Did anybody catch how to get negative points? Jonathan, how do you get negative points? By your mistakes, okay? So let's focus on the mistakes first. Everybody write down the word mistakes. Jonathan, did you see how many mistakes you made when you did this riddle? 3 mistakes. All right, guys, when we make these mistakes, does the problem tell us we get positive points or negative points? Negative points. How many points do we get subtracted if we get a mistake? Minus 50 each one. So I could say negative 50 plus negative 50 plus negative 50, or there's an easier way. I can do what? 3 times negative 50. All right, so let's do that. 3 times negative 50. This is our rule that we just learned. When we multiply, if I have an odd number of negative signs, my answer has to be negative. So what is 3 times negative 50? Negative 150. Very good job. So what I'm going to do right now is I want us to just circle this answer. It's not my final answer, so I'm not boxing it in, but it is very important. So let's circle it. That's the way we make negative points. Did anybody catch how we can get positive points when solving this riddle? Autumn, how do I get them? Very good. Each second under 10 minutes gives us a bonus point, okay? So our time can give us positive or bonus points. So let's write down the word time. Did anybody catch how long it took us to do this? How long was it, guys?
8 minutes and 45 seconds.
Right here, 8 minutes and 45 seconds. As you saw, my goal was to get it in under 10 minutes. Did we make the goal?
Yes.
Yes, we did. How much time did we have left before it would have hit the 10 minutes? 1 minute and
15 seconds.
15 seconds. So let's figure out, guys, how many seconds are in a minute? 60. So what would 60 plus 15 be?
75.
75. Do I get 75 positive points or 75 negative points?
Positive.
Positive, okay? It says a bonus point. Bonus is a good thing. Let's also circle that because that's important, but it's not my final answer. At the end, the question asks me, what was your final score? So let's figure out, did it give me any points to start off the game?
250.
Good job. At the very beginning, you can see it says, I'm going to give you 250. And then you can see we lost 150, and then we gained 75. According to this problem right here, should I subtract or should I add first, class?
Subtract.
Subtract. Remember with PEMDAS, the addition and the subtraction just depends on what comes first. So the thing that comes first is 250 minus 150. What is that, guys?
100.
100. And then you're going to drop down the 75. What is 100 plus 75? 175. Now, it's a modeling real life problem, so you must have units attached. What is this? 175 points. Very good. So in the end, it looks like we did great on our game because we had 175 points. I want you guys to do a few of these problems as practice. Now, there will be a little quiz on Wednesday of next week over sections 2.1 and 2.2, okay? So this lesson and then the next lesson, which is just going to be about multiplying and dividing integers. I want you guys right now to try to do problem number 1 and 2 on your own. First things first, guys, -1 times -9 equals, anyone? Positive 9, very good. Because we had two negative signs, that's an even number, the answer had to be positive. If you didn't get it, correct it, just erase it and fix it. Let's go to number 2. -25 times 0. What's the answer, guys? 0. Should it be positive or negative 0?
Positive.
Neither, okay? 0 cannot be positive or negative. All right, we're going to look at problem number 3, okay? -4 times 3 squared minus 8 plus 1. According to PEMDAS, Michaela, what should I do first? Very good. We want to do the numbers in the parentheses. So before we do anything else, let's focus on this. Michaela, what is 3 squared? 9. Very good. Okay, so remember, underline the one step that you're doing. We'll drop down the answer and everything else gets dropped down, including the parentheses. Jonathan, what should I do next? All right, so we're going to do the parentheses first. Jonathan, what is 9 minus 8? 1. Guys, what should I do to everything else? Just drop it down. -4. Bring down the parentheses, because remember, the parentheses next to a number tells us to multiply. Reagan, what should I do next?
Multiply 4 times 1.
Okay, multiply -4 times 1, and when you do that, what do you get?
You get -4.
You are correct, -4. And then remember, all we're doing is just bringing everything else down, so drop down the +1. Am I multiplying now, or am I adding and subtracting? Adding and subtracting. Because there's no parentheses there, I'm now going back to the old rules that we learned in chapter 1 about adding and subtracting. Same sign, add and keep, different sign, subtract and take. Class, what is negative 4 plus 1? I heard negative 5 and I heard negative 3. Same sign or different sign?
Different.
Different sign. Subtract and take the sign of the larger number. What's the answer? Negative 3 is correct. All right, I want you guys to try to do 4 on your own. All right, guys, let's look at number 4. Hopefully the first thing you did was you did the exponents. Okay, remember you want to only do one step at a time. I'm interested now what the answers are, the final answers are that you guys came up with. Who can tell me what your answer was? What did you guys get?
Negative 6.
Negative 6. Did anyone get a different answer than that? What did you guys get? Positive 30. Did anyone get a different answer than those two? Okay, one of those is correct. So let me show you what is correct, okay? There are a couple of operations that are left. I need to subtract and I need to multiply. Which one should I do first? According to PEMDAS. Class? Multiply. We have to do the multiplication first. So I am going to underline this. 9 times negative 2. Guys, what's 9 times negative 2?
18.
Negative 18. Okay? And then I still have to bring down the 12 and the minus. I've got a case of the double negatives, so my answer turns into a monster positive. What is 12 plus 18? It is 30. How many of you made a simple mistake and got a totally different answer? That's okay. If you did, erase it and fix it. Your friend evaluates the expression. Are they correct? This is what they say. Negative 2 times negative 7 equals negative 14. Are they correct? Yes or no?
No.
No. Who can tell me where they went wrong? Reagan, what'd they do wrong?
So according to the positive integers, you have to count the negative or positive sign.
Correct. You have to count the negative signs. There were 2 of them, so the answer should have been what?
It should have been positive.
It should have been positive 14. So when it says explain, you can simply put what the answer should have been. Negative 2 times negative 7 should have been positive 14. Okay? Let's go to the next one. True and false. The product of 3 negative integers is positive. So sometimes what I like to do is just give myself a little picture. Okay? I'll just say something simple. Negative 1 times negative 2 times negative 3. This tells me, according to that statement, the answer will be positive. Is that true or is that false?
It's false.
That is false because it was an odd number of negative signs, so the answer should have been negative. Let's go to the next one. I'll use those same numbers. The product of 3 positive integers, 1 times 2 times 3, is going to be positive. Is that true or false?
True.
That is also true. All right, very good job. And that is the end of our lesson for 2.1.